glory. The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John. 6 days before Passover, Jesus came to Bethany, where Lazarus was, whom Jesus had raised from the dead. They gave a dinner for him there, and Martha served, while Lazarus was one of those reclining at table with him. Mary took a liter of costly perfumed oil made from genuine aromatic nard and anointed the feet of Jesus and dried them with her hair. The house was filled with the fragrance of the oil. Then Judas the Iscariot, one of his disciples and the one who would betray him, said, "Why was this oil not sold for 300 days' wages and given to the poor?" He said this not because he cared about the poor, but because he was a thief and held the money bag and used to steal the contributions. So Jesus said, "Leave her alone. Let her keep this for the day of my burial. You always have the poor with you, but you do not always have me." A large crowd of the Jews found out that he was there and came, not only because of him, but also to see Lazarus, whom he had raised from the dead. And the chief priests plotted to kill Lazarus too, because many of the Jews were turning away and believing in Jesus because of him. The Gospel of the Lord. Something seems to be getting my allergies up here in the sanctuary the last couple of weeks. Apologize about that. Today is the second day of Holy Week, right? So Monday of Holy Week, and I thought what we would do this year is talk a little bit about what Jesus was doing during Holy Week. So a lot of us are familiar with Palm Sunday as Holy Week begins, and then we know more about Holy Thursday and Good Friday and Holy Saturday. But what was going on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of Holy Week? Right? So one of the interesting things about the life of Jesus is that almost half of the Gospels is taken up just talking about the last week of Jesus. And yet many of us are only familiar with what happened on Thursday and Friday, Saturday and Sunday. So what was going on the rest of the week? The Gospel of Mark, so I brought my Bible with me today. The Gospel of Mark says that just after Jesus entered into Jerusalem, the next day he went, and this was the day that he cleansed the temple and the day that he cursed the fig tree. Right? So one of the things I want to talk about this morning is this episode of the fig tree. You guys remember this story, right? When Jesus curses the fig tree? And I'll read it to you again. Okay, this is from Mark chapter 11. It says this: "On the following day, when they came from Bethany, Jesus was hungry. And seeing in the distance a fig tree in leaf, he went to see if he could find anything on it. When he came to it, he found nothing but leaves, for it was not the season of figs. And he said to it, 'May no one ever eat fruit from you again.' And his disciples heard it." So this cursing of the fig tree, I always thought this was kind of interesting. What did Jesus have against this fig tree? Right? It wasn't even the season of figs. So why did Jesus curse this fig tree? And we read later on in the chapter, right, what happened with the fig tree. It withered away. Right? Later on in the chapter it says, "As they passed by in the morning, they saw the fig tree withered away to its roots. And Peter remembered and said to him, 'Master, look, the fig tree which you cursed has withered.' And Jesus answered them, 'Have faith in God. Truly I say to you, whoever says to this mountain, 'Be taken up and cast into the sea,' and does not doubt in his heart, but believes what he says will come to pass, it will be done for him." So this fig tree, not only did Jesus curse it, but the next day we read that the fig tree withered away. Why was Jesus so upset with this fig tree? Right? Shortly after coming into Jerusalem, one of the first things he did was curse this fig tree, even though it wasn't even the season of figs. Right? So why would Jesus be looking for fruit on this fig tree? Why was he so upset? You guys ever wondered that question? Right? Why was Jesus so upset about this? Part of the reason why Jesus was upset with this fig tree is, for one thing, it represented the people of Jerusalem and the people of Israel. One of the most common symbols throughout the scriptures for Jerusalem and for God's people is that his people is like a vineyard. Right? And so this fig tree is like that in miniature. Right? With the vineyard is not bearing fruit, so likewise if the tree is not bearing fruit, Jesus is very upset about this. But even more so than that, what was the deal with this fig tree in particular? Can you think of any other time in the Bible that a fig tree is mentioned? That's kind of a difficult question, isn't it? Right? So at the beginning of the book of Genesis, we read that Adam and Eve ate the fruit of the tree that was in the garden. Right? What kind of a tree was that tree in the garden? Many of us, because of our images of children's Bibles and other things, we think that the fruit of the tree was like an apple tree or something like that. That's normally what we think of with the serpent tempting Adam and Eve. The book of Genesis doesn't actually say what kind of fruit it was. But the rabbis and the ancient Jewish commentators, they suspected that it was a fig tree. Do you know why? They suspected it was a fig tree because right after Adam and Eve ate, they saw that they were naked. And they made for themselves loincloths made out of what? Fig leaves. Right? Presumably from the tree that they just ate from. So in Jewish tradition, and in the days of Jesus, right, the fig tree was not just simply any old tree. It was remembered as the tree that caused the original sin of Adam and Eve. The fig tree was almost like a symbol of the sin of man. And so Jesus, by being a new Adam who is coming to counteract everything that Adam had caused in the beginning, likewise, he was condemning the fig tree and saying that no one should ever eat of it again, symbolic of sin. It's kind of interesting. So tomorrow we'll keep talking about